In this video, we're going to talk about how to find slope from just 2 points. So previously we looked at slope when I dealt with a graph and I found the triangle and then I counted the sides, I did rise over run. This is going to do a similar thing, but we don't have to graph it. Now, you might ask, well, why wouldn't I graph it? Well, if you want to, you could take these points, if you have some graph paper at home, and graph them and do slope that way. If that way works great for you, I would say just keep on doing that. But say in this case, you don't want to graph all the way out to -15, or say the really large numbers. I'm going to show you how to deal with slope without doing any of that. Now remember that it was rise over run. That's how we found slope. So our formula here actually does that for us. Remember, rise is how far do I travel in my y values. Well, I'm going to subtract my y's, and that's going to get me my rise value. Then I'm going to subtract my x's, that's going to get me my run value, and I still have rise over run. So this is kind of the same thing as what we did on the graph. We're just doing it with points. So I think of all the formulas, this might be the easiest one. But we do need to remember it. If you're going to use this formula on the quiz next week, you do need to memorize it because it's not given to you. You're given the distance formula, you're given Pythagorean theorem, but the midpoint and slope formulas you're going to need to start remembering so that way on the quiz you can use them. So let's go ahead and take a look here. I've got a slope that passes between these 2 points. Now remember that always, 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 my x value comes first, my y value comes second. Kind of covered up my values though. So what I'm going to do, if I think about this as my first group and that is my second group, I want my first y, which is this guy here, to go with my second y across the top. So I've got 8 minus -7. Notice the minus is already built into the formula, so even though it's just 8 and -7, I still need to add the minus that's in my formula. Now let's go ahead and plug in my x's. So I've got -10 on one side minus a -15. And let's go ahead and see what we get. 8 minus -7, that's 15. -10 minus a -15, that gets me actually a +5. All right, so if we type 15 over 5, this is going to tell us it is incorrect. Why would it tell us that? Well, we need to make sure we simplify. Notice in simplest form, we need to simplify our answer. So 15 divided by 5, that's the same as 3 over 1. I could divide top and bottom by 5, right? Top by 5, bottom by 5. Now, 3 over 1, that's just the same as 3, right? So my final answer here is just going to be 3. And let's check that and see if that comes out correctly. All right, do we want to submit 3? We do. And there we go. That is the right answer. Okay, and it works through the problem. Now notice, they actually put their x's and y1s on the back instead of the front, and their x2 and y2 on the front. That's okay. As long as you keep the x1, y1 together, see how they're like on the same part and not like on the corners. As long as they're together, whether it's the front or the back, it's okay. You're still allowed to solve it that way. So they solve it a little bit different, but that shouldn't bother us. Let me see if I can find a problem here that I kind of want us to take a look at. Let's see. This is a great one. Let's take a look at this one. So I've got the slope of a line that passes through 10, 5, and 9, 5. So let's go ahead and plug those in. So across the top, my y values, that's 5 and 5. So I've got 5 minus 5. And across the bottom, I've got 10 minus 9. All right, now let's go ahead and solve this and look at what I get. I get 0 over 1. Now, there's sometimes that 0 is okay and sometimes it's not. When 0's in the numerator, when it's in the top like it is now, it's okay. Okay, we're okay with that. The answer here is just equal to 0. But let's just play pretend here. What if my answer had been 1 over 0? What if the 0 had been in the denominator? That is something we call undefined. And notice they've got this little button here, undefined. If we run into an undefined answer, let's say I was answering this one and I wanted to say it was undefined, all you have to do is click the button and it will fill in undefined for you. In this case, my answer is 0, but be on the lookout. If you get a 0 in your denominator, you're going to use that undefined button. So hopefully that's helpful for solving your problems with the slope formula. As always, if you have questions, you can always shoot me an email. So follow the formula, have fun, and go ahead and complete your assignment for today.